Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 17, entitled Victory of Hiranyaksha over all the directions of the universe, I believe. Texts 21 and then 22. 22 has a purport, so we will repeat the 22nd verse. Tam vikshya dukshaha javam ranat kanchana nupuram vijayantya srajajushtam amsanyasta mahagadam. Hiranyaksha's temper was difficult to control. He had anklets of gold tinkling about his feet. He was adorned with a gigantic garland, and he rested his huge mace on one of his shoulders. Text 22. No virya varotsiktam asrinyam akuto bhayam bhita nilililye devas tarkshyat rasta ivahayah manaha virya by mental and bodily strength. Vara by the boon. Utsiktam proud. Asrinyam not able to be checked. Akutaha bhayam fearing no one. Bhitaha frightened. Nililyere hid themselves. Divaha the demigods. Tarkshya Garuda. Trastaha frightened or frightened of. Eva like. Ahayaha snakes. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. His mental and bodily strength, as well as the boon conferred upon him, had made him proud. He feared death at the hands of no one, and there was no checking him. The gods, therefore, were seized with fear at his very sight, and they hid themselves even as snakes hide themselves for fear of Garuda. Purport. The asuras are generally strongly built, as described here, and therefore their mental condition is very sound, and their prowess is also extraordinary. Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, having received the boon that they would not be killed by any other living entity within this universe, were almost immortal, and thus they were completely fearless. Hare Krishna. So we continue our discussion on two topics. One is Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha, and the other is Dāmodarāṣṭaka. So we can see here in from these verses in Srimad Bhagavatam that Hiranyaksha was extremely proud of his power and bodily features. And it's interesting that Prabhupada here says that asuras are generally strongly built and their mental condition is very sound. And their prowess is also extraordinary. So materially speaking, they're very powerful and intelligent and all good qualities, one would say. But these material qualifications cannot help us in spiritual life. Lord Krishna says in the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, he explains the qualities of knowledge, and he begins with amaninam avdambitvam, ahimsa kshantirarjavam. These are the qualities that Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu didn't have. To be humble and without any pride, and non-violent. They were strolling around the universe and try to defeat everyone in fight, but no one wanted to fight with them because they were so powerful. Yes, and that very fact made them very proud and arrogant. And we will see later on in Bhagavatam that Hiranyaksha made fun from Varuna and other demigods. But later was punished by the Supreme Lord himself. Yes. To the contrast of these features of Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha are the residents of Vrindavan. Yes. And we have discussed so far the first two verses of Dāmodarāṣṭaka, and we said that although Satyavrat Muni understands that the Lord is Supreme Personality of Godhead, yes, Ishvaram, Namam Ishvaram, Sachitananda Rupam, and that his Sachitananda Rupam, that his very body is composed of eternal bliss and cognizant bliss, and that his Supreme Ishvara, that everyone is bowing down in front of him. And yes, he's also Ishvara to Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. But although he's so great, no one can be compared to him, he's at the same time completely overpowered by the love of the residents of Vrindavan. And we see from these verses that he ran in fear of Mother Yashoda. Yes. And this was not played fear, it was genuine fear. Yes. He was afraid because he was naughty and his mother wanted to punish him. So he ran and he lied just not to be punished, as we discussed yesterday. Yes. But Mother Yashoda finally, by her love and endeavor, and we pointed out how important it is to put all our endeavor in spiritual life as if everything would depend on our endeavor. Yes. So by her endeavor, Krishna showed his mercy to her and allowed to be bound. And of course, as Krishna always does, he used this lila, used this binding to perform another lila to save the two sons of Kuvera, Nalakuvara and Manigriva, who were cursed by his devotee Narada to become trees. Yes. So today we will discuss the third verse of Dāmodarāṣṭaka, and so we'll sing the third verse. Iti driksvalila virananda kunde svagosham nimarjantam akya payandam. Svalila virananda kunde svagosham nimarjantam akya payantam. Tadiyeshita geshu bhaktarjita tvam puna primatastam shataviti vande. With these super excellent childhood pastimes, Lord Krishna drowned the residents of Gokula in pools of ecstasy. In this way, he declared to those absorbed in knowledge of his majesty and opulence, I am conquered only by my pure loving devotees. With great love, I again offer my obeisances to Lord Damodara hundreds and hundreds of times. Here we see Iti Driksvalila Bir Ananda Kunde, that by these pastimes, how he was running from Mother Yashoda, and by loving exchanges with his friends and monkeys and so on, he drowned all the residents of Vrindavan in Ananda Kunda, yes, in bliss, in pools of bliss, in ocean of bliss. They are always immersed in bliss. Yes, they didn't consider that the Lord is the Lord. Not even he himself considered that he is the Lord. Everyone was just blissful. Yes, Ananda Kunde, and he proclaimed this bliss everywhere. Also to those who are immersed in understanding of his majesty. Yes. And we said that, of course, we know that the Lord is Supreme Personality of Godhead. But as long as we don't have such love of the residents of Vrindavan, we should hanker for it. We should pray for it. We should search for it. And this is our sadhana. Etavateva jigyasan tattva jigyasanatmana anvaya vyatarikabhyam yat yat sarvatra sarvada. It is explained in the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam in this Chatur Shloki that Abhidaya is searching, is tattva jigyasa, is searching for the absolute truth. And there is no higher absolute truth than Lord's sweet feature, this Madhurya feature in Vrindavan. So this is the final search, actually, to find the Lord in Vrindavan. There is no higher goal. Yes, and therefore our sadhana is to always search for it, always pray for it, always hanker for it, develop this great desire for it. Yes, because, as we discussed yesterday, it is not possible to attain it with Vaidhī bhakti. Yes, only by Rāgānugā bhakti the Lord is attained. And this is explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita. And if we will have time, we will read this. There are 5 verses in 8th chapter of Madhya Lila, from 201 to 205, in discussion between Lord Chaitanya and Ramananda Rai. Yes. And also in other places it is explained that the Lord cannot be, a Lord in Vrindavan cannot be attained by following rules and regulations only. Yes. That, as we also explained, that there are 2 levels of performing our devotional service. One is external and one is internal. And externally, we follow the principles of Vaidhī bhakti, of chanting and hearing and remembering and glorifying the Lord and worshipping the Lord. Yes, in these 9 types of devotional service. But internally, we should try to connect with the Lord in Vrindavan and offer service to them. Yes. Seva sadhaka rupena, siddha rupena chatrahi. Tad bhava lipsuna karya vraja lokhanusarataha. It is also explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita that seva sadhaka rupena, that we should offer our service with our material body to Krishna, with all our body and mind. Yes. So that means chanting of the holy name, reading, hearing, and so on. And then we should also try to serve Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan, like we said that Lord Chaitanya personally instructed Raghunath Das Goswami. Yes. Amani manadahanya Krishna nama sadalabe. And this is this part that you should be extremely humble, not expect any respect for yourself, and offer respect to everyone. This is bodily part. And Krishna nama sadalabe. Always chant the holy name. Yes, always chant the holy name. Day and night. But Vraja Radha Krishna Seva Manasa Koribe. But in your mind, in your heart, render service to Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan. So this is the business of devotees of Radha and Krishna. And anyone who wants to become or desires to become a servant of Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan should try to follow this principle given by Lord Chaitanya, or at least hanker for it and pray for it. Yes. So, Lord, as we can see from this verse, immersed the residents of Vrindavan in his different sweet pastimes. And there are unlimited pastimes in Vrindavan, performed every day practically. Once Krishna and Balaram discovered that there is also some outer world, not just the garden and courtyard of their palace, but there is world also outside the door. And they saw one wonderful flowers, but they were growing on the other side of thorny fence, we could say. And somehow or other they moved these thorny bushes that they could sneak inside and pick these wonderful flowers. But then, when they wanted to come back, they couldn't. These thorny bushes were too sharp. And so they start to cry for Mother Yashoda to come and save them. So Mother Yashoda came and helped them to come out from this thorny garden, yes, back to their house. And because, of course, there are plenty of cows and so on, Krishna really liked to swing, but not on ordinary swing, but he grabbed the bulls for the horns and swing on the necks or on their horns. Yes, the bulls were going like this with their heads up and down, and Krishna enjoyed swinging on the horns of the bulls. But Mother Yashoda didn't like this Krishna's fun because she was very afraid. Actually, this is also very interesting. Although Lord Krishna himself explains that if one is not peaceful, there is no question of happiness. Yes. Hare Krishna. In the second chapter of Bhagavad-gita, Jai Shri Panchatattva ki Jai, she explains, Ashantasya kutah sukham. If one is not happy, peaceful, where is happiness? But we can see Mother Yashoda was not peaceful even for a moment. But still, she was immersed in Ananda Kunda, in ocean of bliss. Yes, but she was always afraid for Krishna. Yes, she was afraid that Krishna will be harmed by the horns of the cows and bulls, or by the teeth and claws of dogs and cats or monkeys. So, and that some demon will come and harm Krishna or take away Krishna. So she was always afraid. Yes, this is the nature of motherly love, actually, to be always afraid. Yes. Mothers are afraid if their children are not hungry, if they're wearing some warm dress, and so on. Yes. I think Adipurusha Prabhu was explaining how whenever he calls his mother, she was asking him, do you eat enough? How are you staying? Do you have enough? Do you stay in a warm place? Do you have enough for? Do you have warm clothes? Yes, always in worry that everything is comfortable for their children. Yes, and Gokula is known as Goshapali. Yes, this refers to the place where all the animals, birds, cows, and so on, are always glorifying and loudly sing the pastimes of Lord Krishna. Yes, every living entity in Vrindavan is glorifying Krishna, and therefore every living entity is very dear to Srimati Radharani. Yes. Gyata Vrindata Dvi Sarva Lata Taru Mrigadvija. It is explained by Raghunath Das Goswami in his Tavavali, how Srimati Radharani personally knows and has a relationship with every creature in Vrindavan, even with creepers, Lata, Taru, and tree, Mriga and Dvija, and animal and bird. Yes. So Radharani knows every creature in Vrindavan and has loving relationship with it. Because everyone is glorifying Krishna. And whoever glorifies Krishna is extremely dear to Srimati Radharani. It is explained by our acharyas that by glorifying Srimati Radharani, we conquer Krishna. And by glorifying Krishna, we conquer Srimati Radharani. So, by saying Radhe Radhe, we conquer Krishna. By saying Krishna Krishna, we conquer Radha. Yes. So if we try to be devotees of both, we say Hare Krishna. Yes. Contrary to common understanding, those who say Radha Radha are actually Krishna's bhaktas, not Radha's bhaktas. because Radharani is not very satisfied if one is glorifying her name. Yes, she wants to hear Krishna's glorification, and Krishna is hears his glorification enough. He wants to hear Radharani's glorification. So, if we say Hare Krishna, then we glorify both, and both are very happy. Yes. So, therefore, Prabhupada always, his greeting was Hare Krishna. Even if he was greeted by Radhe Radhe, his response was Hare Krishna. Yes. So, we should follow his example and please both Radha and Krishna together. So, one day, Mother Yashoda wanted to perform some function, some sacrifice, and she needed a calf for this purpose. And she ordered Krishna to bring a calf. And Krishna was very small. And he went to bring a calf, but calf didn't want to go with Krishna. And then Krishna tied him and pulled him very hard. And finally, somehow or other, with great effort, Krishna succeeded to pull the calf towards the house. And then he noticed that under the ceiling, big pot of butter. And his mouth started to water. And he wanted to get this butter. And but he didn't know how to reach it. And then he climbed the calf, on the back of the calf, and reached the butter pot, and started to eat the delicious butter. And then this calf realized that now I can escape. And he escaped. And Krishna grabbed the pot and was hanging under the ceiling on this pot, and starting to call his mother to help him. Yes. And the mother came running and started to chastise Krishna. So he was stealing butter instead of bringing the calf. Yes. So then next time he was also stealing butter, and he suddenly, because these pillars in the Nandagan were so reflective, he saw himself eating butter. And first he became afraid that he was caught stealing butter. And he offered this reflection to this other boy in the pillar. He said, we can make a deal. I can give you half of this butter, but if you don't tell Mother Yashoda. Yes. So they ate butter together simultaneously. Yes. And one time, this is explained also in Bhagavatam, Krishna was sent by the gopis to bring some wooden stool or something which was too heavy for him. And he just came there and touched this thing, and then they understood that that he can't bring it because it's too heavy. But still, he showed how strong he is. He showed his muscles. You see how strong I am? And he was carrying his father's shoes on his head. Yes. So he gladly accepts the dust of his devotees on his head. Yes. He considers devotion to his devotees even higher than a devotion to himself. So this is very important message. And also from this Damodar Lila, we can see that Mother Yashoda went to save milk from the stove. And she put aside Krishna himself, who was extremely satisfied sucking mother's milk. And when he was put aside, he was not at all satisfied. But Mother Yashoda is teaching us with this behavior that things that are meant for Krishna's pleasure are even more important than Krishna himself. And Krishna ultimately, he shed crocodile tears. He was actually satisfied with Mother Yashoda. So I wanted to point out how service to the devotees is even more important than service to Krishna. Yes. To have good relationships with devotees is extremely important. And even if these devotees are not very much strict in devotional service, still they deserve our respect. This is explained in many different parts of the Shastra. One very, very astonishing part is in fourth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where King Prithu performed horse sacrifices, one after another, to please the Lord. And Indra, in his envy, thought that King Prithu wants to occupy his position. So when 100th horse sacrifice was performed, he stole a horse. And then in the garb of some so-called spiritual person, and by the instruction of Atri Muni, the son, Prithu Maharaja's son, went to kill him. But whenever he saw Indra, he was always in some spiritual garb. And so Indra was actually spreading irreligion in the name of religion. But nevertheless, the Lord forbade killing Indra, and he even stopped the 100th horse sacrifice to keep away from disturbance in the universe. Yes. So I wanted to emphasize how important it is to serve the devotees, even if the devotees are not so properly behaved. We still, it's for the Lord's pleasure to serve the devotees. Yes, to serve the devotees. Of course, we should not allow that irreligion is spread through the devotees. Like here, Indra was also stopped in his attempts. But we shouldn't cultivate hatred or vengeance towards devotees. Yes, this is very important, because in every community there are some relationship problems. This is Kali Yuga. You cannot go around it. Even in families there are relationship problems. What to speak of larger communities. Yes. So I assume, I don't know, but I assume that there are also not everything so smooth in your community. Although it looks like very smooth, very nice atmosphere. Yes. Okay, next pastimes, which is very important for our spiritual life in Vrindavan, is the pastimes of fruit seller from Mathura. She heard a lot of things about Krishna, and she decided that she'll go to Vrindavan, and she actually she went to Vrindavan many times, but because Krishna was with his parents or with friends, or somehow or other, she didn't have opportunity to see Krishna, although she was, we would say, quite often in Vrindavan. So one day she decided that I'll go to Vrindavan and I will not leave Vrindavan until I see Krishna. And so she went and was selling fruits, and she went to this Nandagaon and was calling out for that she's selling fruits, papaya and I don't know, pineapples, or I don't know what kind of fruits, and bananas and so on. And she was calling and calling and calling in great love and hankering for Krishna. And she was even started to cry because Krishna didn't appear. And then Krishna, although he was in the lap of his mother, he heard these cries of this fruit seller, and he grabbed some grains in his both hands, but his hands were very small. And when he was running to get some fruits, all these grains just slipped from his hands. And then, when he came to this fruit seller, he said to her, he gave her few grains that were stuck between fingers, and he wanted fruits. And then this fruit seller said to him that he should first climb into her lap and say "Ma" to her, mother. And then Krishna looked all around if no one sees him, and he climbed to her lap and said "Ma," and he jumped away very quickly. And he said, "Now give me your fruits." And this fruit seller was completely immersed in love to Krishna, and she wanted to give all the fruits she had, but Krishna could hold in his small hands only few pieces of fruit. So she gave all these fruits she could to Krishna's hands, and then Krishna very happily returned back to Mother Yashoda. And Mother Yashoda asked him, "Where did you get these fruits?" And he explained that I bought them from this fruit seller. And Mother Yashoda was very worried. You shouldn't go to the strangers. Yes, you shouldn't mix with strangers. Who knows who are they really? Maybe they are some demons. You should be more careful next time. But this fruit seller was sitting still in front of the house, completely immersed in love. Yes, she was in complete samadhi. She couldn't function, actually. And then, finally, she, because of some noise around, she regained her external consciousness, and she grabbed the basket and went back home. But suddenly she realized that this basket is very heavy, and she saw that it was full of gems and diamonds and gold. And then she became really depressed and she threw the basket to River Yamuna, and she said, Krishna just cheated me. He just cheated me and gave these useless stones instead of giving himself to me. Yes. So this should be our mood, like this fruit seller. I will read Bhagavatam every day. I will chant my rounds with all my heart, with all the power of concentration I have. I will not go away from chanting and reading and hearing until I get darshan of Krishna. Yes, so I should be determined. Although, as Prabhupada says, we should hope against hope. It's because it's not in our power to attract Krishna. Yes, there is actually no hope. But we should hope against hope. Only that will attract Krishna. Yes, that determination. Determination is very important. And enthusiasm, utsaha nishchaya dharya tat karma pravartanat. Yes, sangatyagat satoriti, shadbir bhakti prasidyati. Rupa Goswami explains that enthusiasm is the first thing in our spiritual life. And nishchaya, to be firmly convinced, yes, to have great faith that yes, this is the process that I can attract Krishna. Like this fruit seller. I want to meet Krishna. I want to see Krishna. I want to be with Krishna. I want to serve Krishna. I want to at least not think of other things during my chanting and during my reading, during my hearing. I want to give my life to Krishna. I cannot live without Krishna. At least I don't want to live without Krishna. Yes. This should be our determination. And of course we should be patient. Yeah. Daryat. Yes, we should be patient, very much patient. And determined. Patient and determined. Patience and determination are extremely necessary quality. Otherwise, our devotional life is based on passion only. And Lord Krishna explains in 17th chapter of Bhagavad-gīta that sacrifice in passion and devotional life in passion is not stable and very long, not very long, not stays. Yes, is not permanent. Because for passion, it is characteristic of passion that we want some result very quickly. We want to have some benefit. Such benefit, that benefit. Yes. And this benefit is used to attract passionate living entities. It is also stated how many benefits we can have by offering a lamp to Damodar in the month of Kārttika. Just to attract us, to attract our fruitive mentality. Yes, by offering a lamp or with my some devotional effort, I can receive so much profit, so much benefit in my life. And many people are attracted by these benefits. But we should be attracted by service only. Yes, this is the secret to Lord Krishna's heart, is service mentality. We should be attracted to service. And Kārttika is very good time to be more immersed in service. I wanted to mention this the first day. Unfortunately, this is the third day, and I forgot also yesterday. But I will take this opportunity and tell now how Kārttika is very good to increase our devotional service. Yes. Because of our conditioned state, of one who is conditioned, it's not possible to be always immersed in samadhi 24 hours a day. So, as recommended by Lord Krishna, I think we have mentioned this, then it's conducive to engage in sadhana bhakti. Yes. Abhyasa yoga, this practice. And by this process we will develop desire to attain Krishna. And Kārttika is very good to increase our abhyasa, our service, our practice, to go deeper and deeper in this service, and also to increase our quantity of service. Of course, we shouldn't increase above our capacity, because I know devotees who take some very difficult vratas for Kārttika and then hardly wait the end of Kārttika. So instead of happily awaiting Kārttika, if we don't approach it with intelligence, we can be terrified of Kārttika. And just wait the end of it, that we can give up this burden of devotional service. So this is not a very smart approach to Kārtika Vrata. The best is to increase in such steps that we can manage them. There is some discomfort. Discomfort means sacrifice. If there is no discomfort, there is no sacrifice, actually. Yes. So, for example, 10 minutes per day, it's not such a thing. Everyone can do it, isn't it? 10 minutes. It's nothing, actually. But still, it's some effort. Some perceivable effort. Some perceivable extra effort. But in 12 years, these 10 minutes becomes 2 hours. In 24 years, it becomes 4 hours. If we increase every Kārtika for 10 minutes, just 10 minutes, then in few years, we find out that we don't have any time for nonsense. Because we have to perform our devotional service. Yes, because I wanted to point out that when the Kārtika is finished, we just continue with this vrata. We don't go back. Understand? This is the purpose. It's not the purpose that the purpose of Kārtika is to prove ourselves. Yes, we can increase our sadhana, we can increase our devotional practice. And we don't go back, we just continue. And then with next Kārttika we increase again. And with next Kārttika we increase again, and again, and again, and again. And slowly, slowly, we can see that Krishna will steal our heart and he'll steal our time. So we will have no time for anything else but Krishna. Yes. So yes, this is very important, to be immersed in Krishna's sweet pastimes. Sweet pastimes. We stress this every day, and the whole month is meant to be immersed in sweet pastimes of Krishna. Because no one, without understanding of these sweet pastimes, cannot attain Krishna in Vrindavan. Cannot attain Krishna in Vrindavan. This is stressed in Chaitanya Charitamrita again and again and again. And also in 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, this is explained. Yes. So, one very interesting thing, that even Sita, by her deep love for Ram, couldn't conquer Ram, actually, by her love. So Ram banished her to the forest, but we could not imagine that Krishna would do such a thing with Srimati Radharani. Yes. On the contrary, he comes to Srimati Radharani and bows down to her feet and keeps her feet on his head. And what to speak to Srimati Radharani, he offers his obeisance. He's bowing down even to the feet of Rupa Manjari and Rati Manjari to get the favor of Srimati Radharani. Yes. So, therefore, this love of the gopis is the highest. And we cannot even hanker for them, for their love, without their mercy. Therefore, Prabhupada formed our sadhana in such a way that we pray for their mercy. From the very beginning in the morning, we pray to our Guru, meditating that he is the very confident servant of Radha and Krishna in the growth of Vrindavan. And of course, no male can do this. So he has to have this Manjari form when serving Radha and Krishna together. So this is our first meditation, that our Guru is serving Radha and Krishna in his Manjari form. And then we sing to Tulasi Devi, who is also Vrinda, who is one of the gopis in Vrindavan, with the sole prayer, please make me a gopi in Vrindavan also. I want to just serve Radha and Krishna and be servant of the gopis. Yes. This is our daily prayer, but we should know what we sing. Yes. This is important to understand what we sing and take it seriously, not just superficially. Yes. And as far as I know, this in other mats, in Gaudiya mats, they don't have such Mangalarati as we have. So Prabhupada established this type of Mangalarati, which is directly Rāgānugā sadhana bhakti. For us to go deeper in our spiritual life. Of course, we mentioned many times that we shouldn't take cheaply this sadhana. We should take it extremely seriously and with utmost sincerity in our heart. We should, in the line of our acharyas, cry for this mercy, because we said that this cannot be attained. It's just given by mercy. And it was given by Prabhupada's mercy. Actually, we are receiver of this mercy by Srila Prabhupada. But we should connect to it with our proper attitude, with proper hankering, deep hankering for it. Yes, this is the only way to acquire it. And it will be expressed through our body in strict sadhana, bhakti. Yes, and increased chanting and hearing. Hare Krishna. Is there any question or comment or doubt? Yes, please.
We shall follow the inhabitants of Vrindavan to Rāgānugā. But like in this stage, to appreciate the sweetness of Krishna, it's like you have to remember that he's the Lord, and that makes his pastimes very sweet.
Sorry, we have to remember.
I mean, because before you get direct perception of Krishna and his beauty and everything, then the attractiveness of Krishna and his pastimes is like you include and remember that he's the Lord, and that makes his pastimes so attractive. If you're not already an inhabitant of Vrindavan,
What is the question?
yeah, and then how do you actually follow in the footsteps? Because they don't think about Krishna as
The Supreme Lord. I believe we mentioned this, that in separation from Krishna, they understand that Krishna is God, that Krishna is the Lord. Yes. When Krishna performed Rasa Lila, at one time he left Rasa Lila with Srimati Radharani. And then the gopis were searching for Krishna frantically. And then they saw that Krishna's footprints are accompanied by another footprints. And they prayed, Anayarade Tanunam Bhagavan Harir Ishvara. Yes. Yano Vihaya Govinda Pritoyat Anayatraha. Krishna is Bhagavan Hari Ishvara. He's Bhagavan, he's God, and Ishvara, the supreme controller. And then later on, Krishna left even Srimati Radharani. And then she prayed, Ha Nata Ramana Preshta Kvasi Kvasi Mahabhuja Dasyasti Kripanayame Sakhi Darshaya Sanidhim. Ha Nata, oh, my master, where are you? Yes. So, this is completely different mood. Ramana Preshta Kvasi Kvasi, where are you? Where are you? Mahabhuja. Dasyasti, I'm your servant. Be merciful towards me. Kripanayame. Darshaya Sinadim. And please show yourself to me. Yes. So, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that this separation from Krishna is scorching the devotees like the rays of scorching sun. And in scorching light of the sun, everything is clearly seen. So everyone can clearly see that Krishna is Lord. But when they are together with Krishna, this is so pleasing, and it's compared to soothing moon's rays, the soothing rays of the moon. So everyone forgets about Krishna's glory, that Krishna is Bhagavan, Harir, Ishvara. Yes, and then they can chastise Krishna. Yes. So we are also separated from Krishna, so we can understand that Krishna is God. But we can hanker for this lila. And Lord performed these pastimes just to attract living entities. Yes. And therefore, constant hearing is so much important. Constant hearing. Of course, not only these pastimes, but with also focus on Srimad Bhagavatam. It is explained in Rāgānugā by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. This is a book that explains the path of Rāgānugā Bhakti, that it is necessary for a devotee who tries to follow this Rāgānugā sadhana to daily read Srimad Bhagavatam. Yes, without exception. So this is also a recommendation by Srila Prabhupada, to read Bhagavatam every day and to hear Bhagavatam every day. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Yes, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. By this we can develop desire. And also other books like Chaitanya Charitamrita, we should also read every day. Yes. And Bhagavad Gita also every day. So we can read at least 3 books every day. Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Chaitanya Charitamrita. And yes, then we will understand and develop great desire. Hare Krishna. Anything else? Gantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Pramanande.